Chapter 12 The Plunge. The team, made up of Leandra, Vorsha, Mava, and Jindai, embarks on their mission to save Damana from the dark agents at the Zumuridium Gi. A team of monks from the village was originally going to accompany them as backup, but things quickly changed. As the backup monks are about to embark on their mission, Vision disguises herself as one of them, entering their village. She disrupts their energy cells using dark matter, disabling the entire Monk City power grid. Vision reveals herself as a dark agent, and the monks take a stance to battle her. Vision unleashes dark, twisted-looking creatures, using the energy cell's output, enabling her to warp them in. The monks are preoccupied with battling Vision and her creatures, distracting them from supporting Leandra, Vorsha, Mava, and Jindai on their mission. Mava and Jindai team up and in disguise head toward the main security center, where power and communications are delivered throughout the Zumuridium Gi. Just as they enter, they're ambushed by dark agents, tipped off by Vision beforehand through chaos. Mava and Jindai battle for some time, but are eventually captured, thrown into prison, and put into stasis. Meanwhile, Damana is tortured and killed in the arena by the dark agents. Leandra and Vorsha are waiting for the signal, the lights going off and the power as well, but realize something must have gone wrong because they've been waiting too long. Where are they? Leandra asks. Vorsha, can you use your powers to see that far? Vorsha attempts to see with her mind where Mava and Jindai are. There's something blocking my vision, Vorsha replies. Everything feels wrong about this. Blaring blue and green holographic lights appear above the Colosseum. It is announced in a robotic voice that Mava and Jindai have been caught and put into stasis pods. Vorsha looks around, sensing energy fields. She sees odd energy signatures that resemble those of Mava and Jindai, making her think she knows where they are being held. They are about to leave together when they hear an announcement from the hologram above the fighting dome.
Mava and Jindai will be killed if Leandra does not show herself at the fighting dome immediately.
The announcer's voice can clearly be heard as Yaya and Kiki, the sisters of dance. Leandra stops for a moment, realizing the severity of the situation. I must go, Leandra informs Vorsha. I will find Jindai and Mava, Vorsha replies. I will buy you as much time as you need. Save them, Leandra reassures her. Without thinking, they both run off to where they need to be. Leandra heads to the stadium, where crowds of people are standing and cheering. She arrives at the entrance, where armed guards stand with weapons pointed at her. Leandra puts up her hands and blows the guards into the walls with powerful gusts of wind, knocking them unconscious. She lowers her hands and uses the wind to hover above everyone, landing directly in the middle of the Colosseum. The audience is astonished to see Leandra before them and begins to cheer even louder.
Is everyone paying attention?
Yaya yells to the audience, her voice amplified so everyone can hear.
We've got the most enjoyable sight you've ever seen. An annoying guardian many people have heard of and wanted to get their hands on. Leandra!
Kiki shouts to the audience. Yaya and Kiki remain in the stands watching Leandra from afar. A giant green creature with multiple horns protruding from its head walks into the stadium, facing Leandra directly. Aliens and humans in the stands cheer and scream even louder.
This creature may not be from here, but it sure does hate people from Earth for some reason.
Yaya shouts.
Maybe it's time we paid you back for the jewels you took from us,
Kiki says. The monster growls, then charges toward Leandra. It comes close to her and swipes with its giant claws. Leandra uses the wind to blow herself away from harm just in time. She looks at the monster's claws and sees that they spark with electrical energy. "Come on!" Leandra shouts at the monster. The monster charges at her again, swiping both claws unpredictably. Leandra holds her hands out, concentrating powerful gusts of wind to push the monster back. She sees that the monster is stalled only momentarily. "Fine!" Leandra shouts reluctantly. She raises her hands, and a tornado forms around the monster, lifting it off the ground. The monster holds its hands out toward Leandra, firing balls of electricity. Leandra senses the electricity moving her way and uses the wind to maneuver herself to safety. "Ow!" Leandra shouts, falling to the ground after feeling one of the electric sparks hit her back. Before she has time to think, the monster charges toward her again. Leandra's aura shines a bright greenish-yellow tint, absorbing some of the electricity shot at her. She waits until the creature is mere feet away, then uses the wind to blow herself to the other side of the stadium. "Strike her!" People shout from the stands, unhappy with how the fight is going. Leandra looks over at them angrily. "What do you think I'm trying to do here?" Leandra shouts to the audience, knowing most likely no one can hear her over the noise. She points her hands forward, using all her might to create gusts of wind powerful enough to push the monster back. The monster slowly tries to push forward against the wind in its face. Leandra raises her hands again and creates a tornado powerful enough to lift the monster into the air. The monster flails about, firing balls of electricity in every direction. Some of the electricity almost hits the crowd, but a force field blocks it. "So, we're completely locked in here, are we?" Leandra says under her breath, assessing the situation. She concentrates on the monster, drowning out the noise around her. "I can see something more." Leandra looks at the energy around the monster and senses power surging through her body. She shouts as she channels all her energy into the tornado she created. She sees pockets of energy exploding around the monster. The monster wails in agony as many explosions combust around it, damaging its body. "Enough!" Leandra shouts as she commands the tornado to lift the monster to the ceiling, then releases her winds, causing it to slam to the ground. Leandra walks toward the creature and blows wind in its face to see if it's still conscious. The monster's lifeless body does not move. "Burn!" The crowd screams, watching Leandra's victory. "I did this for all of you!" Leandra shouts, knowing she won't be heard. She looks at the crowd angrily. "Why am I even doing this? Is this what these people want? Violence? To see me dead?" Leandra's anger continues to grow when she sees new monsters entering the middle of the stadium to fight her. "I took out the big one. You think I can't take you out too?" The two monsters are smaller than the first, but much faster. They both have claws and horns and create fireballs from their hands. They toss fireballs at Leandra continuously. She flies with the wind around the stadium, dodging their attacks. She flies up behind one creature and attempts to kick it, the wind powering her up. But the other creature comes from behind and shoots her with a fireball. Leandra falls to the ground, her aura absorbing much of the attack. She notices that the brightness of her aura is diminished. "No!" Leandra lifts her right hand and summons a tornado that engulfs her. She creates an orb of wind so she can hover in the middle of it, where she sees the monsters swirling in the air. She flies over to one and kicks it in the face, knocking it out. She then funnels the tornado toward a wall, slamming the second monster into it and knocking it out as well. Leandra hovers back to the ground and takes her stance for battle once more. The shouting from the audience continues. "Melt!" Leandra's patience continues to wane. Yaya and Kiki grow tired and angry with Leandra's constant winning. They jump into battle and announce themselves.
"Yaya!"
Yaya yells.
"Kiki!"
Kiki yells. Their voices echo throughout the entire stadium. They look up at the announcer hologram to see Mava and Jindai in a stasis pod. Yaya and Kiki yell out,
Kill them!
Leandra blows a gust of wind at them, then shouts, No! Back at the prison, Vorsha makes her way through a pipe and into Mava and Jindai's cell. The prison guards receive the signal to make the kills and see Vorsha's floating amulet in the cell. Before they can fire upon the amulet, Vorsha psionically scorches and stuns them. Vorsha finds the power source for the stasis cells and shoots it with psychic energy. The cells malfunction, releasing Mava and Jindai. The women wake up, realizing they're in a prison. The guards move to their feet, but Vorsha channels energy through the cell doors and stuns them again. You need to find a way out of here. I have to save Leandra, Vorsha says telepathically to Mava and Jindai as she hovers out of the prison. Mava and Jindai both agree with Vorsha and begin finding their own way out. Back at the Coliseum, Leandra continues to fight Yaya and Kiki. She breezes across the stadium floor, swipe-kicking the women to the ground. They quickly get back up, only to be met with extreme winds blowing them back.
You think gems are pretty, huh?
Yaya yells. She throws gems from her pocket that explode on impact. Leandra shields her eyes from the explosions. She uses the wind to get back into the air so she can see what's happening above them.
Think we can't get you from up there?
Kiki shouts. She throws gems into the air that explode around Leandra, causing her to fall back to the ground. One of the crystals is dark purple, and when it explodes, a dark cloud creature emerges and hovers above Leandra's head. What is this? Leandra attempts to look up, still stunned from the explosions. She can feel the dark cloud attempting to enter her thoughts.
Chakra will take care of you,
Kiki says. Losing consciousness and clarity, Leandra is apprehended by dark agents and placed in a guillotine. She struggles, battling the entity Chakra in her mind, refusing to let it into her thoughts. Just as the guillotine is about to slice her head, Leandra finally breaks free. No! In an instant, she remembers the tale of the Ice Queen told by the little ghost girl at the submerged city. Her body becomes as hard as the coldest ice, and the guillotine's blade stops at her neck. Leandra tightens her grip on the agents, restraining her arms and freezes them in place. She freezes the guillotine, jerks her hands free, and lifts the blade off her neck. The audience looks on in disbelief. Leandra loses consciousness and delves into a new state of being. Dark agents swarm to apprehend her, but she creates walls of ice around herself and uses them to blow the agents away. The dark agents are caught off guard, thrust back into the force field meant to keep her inside the stadium. Leandra looks at the force field, then pummels it with constant gusts of wind and ice. The force field eventually loses power and dissipates. Leandra looks around at the audience in disbelief. How dare you just sit around and watch as I risked my life to save all of yours? She yells in anger at the crowd. The people in the audience become frightened and run out of the stadium. She sends waves of extreme cold into the stands, freezing people and dark agents in place. Leandra walks out of the fighting arena, freezing any dark agents in her way. She freezes the entire arena, encasing it in ice. Then she leaves, walking out of the city to the south, disappearing into the forest and leaving a trail of ice. Vision summons a giant dark agent to stop Mava and Jindai after their escape. Just after escaping the prison, they run into the giant monster and battle it for some time. We need to get to Leandra and Vorsha, Jindai shouts to Mava. What do you think we're doing? Mava shouts back as they battle the creature. Ow! Mava falls as the creature swipes her back, leaving her bleeding. Stay away! Jindai screams at the creature, creating a sonic shockwave. The creature flies backward and falls lifeless to the ground. Jindai runs to Mava's side as she collapses. "Oh no, oh no, oh no!" Jindai says frantically. She looks at Mava's wounds and sees that she is in extreme pain. "Don't move!" Jindai tries to think but cannot concentrate amid the commotion around her. "Jindai," Mava says from the ground, starting to lose consciousness. "No, no, no!" Jindai cries out. She closes her eyes, then places her hands on Mava's back. Blood seeps onto her hands, but she remains calm and concentrates. She sings a light melody to keep her mind focused. The sonic energy from her singing swirls around Mava's body and slowly heals her wounds. "Jindai," Mava says, getting to her feet. "You did it." She looks amazed that her back is no longer bleeding profusely. The creature they were fighting earlier is no longer moving. Mava and Jindai see a large monster running after Vorsha's floating amulet as it is smacked hundreds of feet away from them. Before they can retrieve it, a young girl and a boy grab it and run off. The large monster then turns its attention to Mava and Jindai. "Okay then, round 2, Mava shouts. She fires beams of photonic energy from her fingers at the creature's head, blinding it. They battle the creature for some time and eventually defeat it. After the battle, Mava and Jindai continue searching for Leandra in the city. They look on in shock at the city, now utterly destroyed. Ice encases most of the buildings. People are running away, and unconscious dark agents litter the ground. Jindai sees Yaya and Kiki catch a hover vehicle out of the city. Mava and Jindai fight off the remaining dark agents still lingering. They notice a pack of rock people entering the city. People flee as quickly as they can to escape the influx. Mava and Jindai realize they cannot do much more without support, so they travel to the monk village. "The monks!" Mava says to Jindai as they catch a hover vehicle toward the village. At the monk village, they find many of the monks already dead, but many are still fighting against the dark agents. They team up with some of the elders and battle the dark agents until they are all defeated. They repair the energy source, and just as they do, Vision reappears. They battle her until she is slightly weakened. The monks realize the type of power she wields and that they will not be able to stop her with conventional methods. The oracle arrives and tells the women to channel their energies into the crystal that powers the village. As Mava and Jindai do this, they see Vision becoming weaker. The crystal enhances Mava's and Jindai's energy. They battle Vision again until she is unconscious. When she regains consciousness, they can tell she is not the same dark agent. "What is all this? What's this? What is this? Where am I?" Vision says, frightened. She is clearly disturbed. Mava, Jindai, and the monks keep a safe distance, still cautious of her abilities. "Ah!" Vision screams as the energy from the cells is drained, creating a portal that sucks her into it. "No!" Jindai shouts, jumping toward Vision to grab her, but Mava intervenes, holding her back. They are too late. Vision is sucked into the portal, and it dissipates. The room grows dark as the energy cell is completely drained. Only dim emergency lighting remains on the floor. Mava, Jindai, and the monks stand in silence and shed a tear for the momentary freedom they saw in Vision's soul. They spend a moment of mourning for their loved ones who were killed. Mava and Jindai return to Zumuridium-gi with a team of monks and find it surprisingly quiet. They traverse to the Colosseum and notice the rock people have brought a device they are assembling. Mava and Jindai prepare to strike, but Nguvu asks them to wait. "We've seen these people before," Nguvu says. "They're not trying to hurt anyone, it seems." I think they're being controlled by something collectively. They do not seem to act independently, and their behavior is extremely unpredictable. Why would they come to the city, now of all times, to construct something in the Colosseum? Jindai asks. They have attempted to enter the city many times before, unsuccessfully due to the dark agent presence, Nguvu explains. Eventually, they gave up, but appears as though they have some type of mission they've been working to fulfill this entire time. Mava, Jindai, and the monks watch for a few more moments as the rock people quickly finish the construction of their device, a complex mechanical construct unlike anything they have seen before. An energy beam fires from the pillar into the sky. A few moments later, they notice an energy projection of multiple beings appear around the pillar. These beings look upon the rock people and gesture their hands toward them. "Oh my goodness," Jindai whispers. "What or who are they?" She waits for an answer, but Nguvu does not respond and simply continues to watch the rock people. The rock people notice their presence and look over at them. At first, they are startled to find the rock people staring back, but as the moment passes, no attack comes. This calms the nerves of Mava, Jindai, and the monks. Nguvu is the first to walk over to them. The beings in the holographic projection look at him as he approaches. "Hello, we have not come to harm you in any way," Nguvu says reassuringly, exposing his hands as a sign of peace to the rock people and the beings in the projection. The beings look back at him. Their eyes begin to glow, and Nguvu cannot look away from them. "Nguvu!" Mava and Jindai say together as they rush toward him. They grab him as he falls backward toward the ground. Nguvu groans as he collapses, with Mava and Jindai holding his arms. The rock people and the beings in the projection continue to observe them. "What just happened?" Mava shouts as she grabs Nguvu's hand. Slowly, he begins to return to consciousness. After a few moments, he fully wakes from the state he was in. "Oh my," Nguvu says, dumbfounded. "It is incredible." "What happened to you?" Jindai asks. "My mind touched theirs," Nguvu says. "I saw images flashing through my mind. They could also see inside my mind, my wishes, my feelings, my past, my regrets, my memories, all things I had not explored in a very long time." He rises to his feet. "These beings sensed my sadness and frustration over losing Damana and trying to save the people of Earth. They told me they could speak with her, communicate beyond the walls, they called it." He explains quickly, afraid of forgetting anything. "Beyond the walls?" Mava asks. "Beyond the walls of what we consider death here on Earth." Nguvu begins to cry. "For a moment, I was able to speak with Damana. She is on the other side of the wall, as they called it." He cries harder. "They said they could bring her back if she wanted to." Mava and Jindai exchange looks of shock. "I asked her if she wanted to come back, and she said yes," Nguvu says, looking up at the beings in the projection. "I told them I wanted her to return, and she told them she did too." "So, what's going to happen? Do you really believe them?" Mava asks skeptically. "She should already be back," Nguvu says quietly. "Nguvu?" A muffled, quiet female voice comes from behind them. "Damana!" Nguvu cries, turning and running toward her as she stumbles. They embrace, crying together. He looks back at the beings and the rock people. Thank you. Mava and Jindai look toward the beings in the projection beside the rock people. In almost the blink of an eye, the rock people and the other beings swirl into a focused beam of light and shoot into space. Before anyone can speak, they vanish. The device controlling the projections shuts down with a soft whirring sound, signaling its deactivation. I am so happy to have you back, Nguvu says as he holds Damana. He grips her by the elbows, their arms clasped as they look into each other's eyes. This is my choice, Nguvu. This planet is going to be brought back to the light, and I want to be here when it happens. Mava and Jindai thank the monks for all their help, but realize they have lost a significant amount of time in their search for Leandra and Vorsha. We're going to go find them. They would do the same for us, Mava explains to the monks. We understand and thank you for everything, Damana tells them. If it hadn't been for all of you, the Dark Agents would still inhabit this city. Mava and Jindai spend some time at the monk village, resting and assisting wherever they can to help rebuild. The monks appreciate their help, but ask that they also assist the people in Zumuridium-Gi. A group of monks travels to Zumuridium-Gi to help rebuild the city. They find areas still encased in unbreakable ice, with many people trapped inside. The monks tell the people they can leave with them, walk away from this chaotic life, and live in the monk village. Most agree, though not all. Nguvu senses Mava and Jindai's distress and tells them they should leave to search for their teammates Leandra and Vorsha. He explains that right now, Mava and Jindai may be the only real hope of escaping the chaos on Earth and restoring the world. We will take care of the city and protect it from the Dark Agents if they should ever return, Nguvu reassures them. You must hurry if you are to find your friends. They may need your help. The Oracle arrives and offers her encouragement, assuring Mava and Jindai that they can do this. They can reunite their team and become stronger than they ever imagined. At the monk village, Mava and Jindai speak with the council. Damana recalls seeing beyond her own eyes when her psionic powers were heightened. She senses a powerful presence coming from the south. She is unsure of its nature, but it could be Leandra. Mava and Jindai decide to head south in search of Leandra and Vorsha. They say their final goodbyes and follow the trail of ice.